Imagine, it's 2010, you've just come home from a long day at school. You say hi to your mum, you grab a snack, and rush to turn on your Xbox 360. That Modern Warfare 2 lobby music finally hits. Your friends are already online, laughing, talking rubbish, and screaming over the mic until your parents tell you to quiet down. No battle pass, no 100GB updates, and no skins to buy. Just you, the boys, and the game. You're not thinking about grinding XP or unlocking cosmetics, you just want to play. And somehow those nights still feel better than most gaming sessions today. But why is that? Were those old games actually better? Or did we just grow up? One of the reasons old games felt better is that they were all so different. Every game had its own identity, its own weird charm. Some of the most nostalgic games from my childhood: The Simpsons Hit and Run, Crash Bandicoot, Need for Speed, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Spyro, and Final Fantasy. They all felt like they came from completely different worlds. Spyro breathed fire, Crash spun in circles, and Tony Hawk, well, he ollied into our hearts. Developers back then weren't chasing trends or analytics. They were just trying to make something cool, something fun. Today, a lot of games use the same engines, the same mechanics, and the same design. But older games didn't just feel more challenging or rewarding, they actually felt distinct. Every game looked, sounded, and played differently. Because developers, well, they were constantly experimenting. It feels like many studios today care more about lining shareholders' pockets than filling gamers' hearts. And because of that, developers are scared to take risks. They'd rather play it safe. Stick to what is already proven to sell. It might not change the world, but it guarantees a profit. Why change game mechanics when you can just update the playlist and push out the same game every year like EA do with FIFA? Back then, a game didn't need a massive budget or a content roadmap to stand out. It just needed an idea nobody else had tried before. That creativity is what made older games stick with us. You remember them not because they were perfect, but because there was nothing else quite like them. And that's what feels lost today. That sense of creativity, that willingness to take risks, and that feeling of games being made by gamers for gamers, not by corporations for shareholders. Which leads perfectly into the next point: the effect of corporate greed on the gaming industry. What used to be a creative industry slowly turned into a business, and not just any business, but one run by shareholders, investors, and executives who don't even touch a controller. The focus shifted from making something great to making something profitable. Games became products, not passions. And you can feel that difference. Instead of finishing a game and moving on to the next idea, developers are now expected to stretch one game out for years. Constant updates, battle passes, and live service models designed to keep you spending. Why innovate when you can just push micro transactions? Games have become less art, more cash grab. Take Call of Duty for example. In the past, to get the gold camo, you had to grind thousands of headshots. Now, with a new battle pass system in games like Fortnite, you can buy your way to the top. It's the epitome of everything wrong with the industry today. We used to pay once for a full experience. Now we pay once to unlock half of it, and then pay again to finish it. Don't get me wrong, not every studio is like this. There are still developers who care, who take risks, and clearly love what they make. But the big publishers, the one with the most money and influence, have built a system that prioritises engagement over enjoyment. They don't want you to have fun for a few hours, they want you to play forever. Not because the game is that good, but because you're that invested. And that's the biggest difference between old and new games. Old games wanted your time because they were fun, new games only want it because it's profitable. But, and this is important, that's not the whole story. There's still developers out there with passion, studios that care more about creativity than profit. Games like The Stanley Parable, Stardew Valley, Stray, and The Outer Wilds remind us that there's still heart in this industry. Innovation isn't dead, it's just moved somewhere else. While it might feel like the big AAA studios have lost their soul, indie developers are proving that passion can still thrive and maybe just maybe, they'll shape the future of gaming. One of the things older games did really well was trust the player. They didn't hold your hand, tell you what to do every 5 seconds. They trusted you to figure things out. Think about Dark Souls. Yeah, it is a newer game, but it captures that old school philosophy. No tutorial holding your hand. You die, you learn, you adapt. The Tree Sentinel in Elden Ring. You can grind and try to defeat the enemy early on, but the main role here is to teach you that you don't need to defeat everything in front of you at that time. Or classics like Shadow of the Colossus, The Legend of Zelda, Mario, Star Wars. Every challenge was designed for discovery. You explored, experimented, and earned every victory. There were no waypoints covering your screen, no pop-ups telling you which button to press, no endless tutorials explaining things you could figure out for yourself. You just played and learned by doing it. Contrast that with modern titles. Horizon Forbidden West, Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, or even Spider-Man. The map constantly guides you, objectives pop up in every corner, and tutorials interrupt the flow. The game never lets you truly fail, because it's worried you'll stop playing. Old games respected your curiosity. Modern games, they fear your boredom. And that's a big part of why older games felt better. They trusted you, and you felt smart for figuring things out yourself. But maybe, just maybe, it's not all the game's fault. When we were younger, every game felt like a whole world. We had the time, the patience, and the imagination to just get lost in it. You'd ride through Springfield, pull off impossible combos on a half pipe, or hunt for secret areas in Crash's levels. It wasn't just about finishing the game. It was about the journey, the little victories, and the stories you created with your friends along the way. We didn't care about patch notes, microtransactions, or online leaderboards. We just played, we laughed, we failed, and we celebrated. And it stuck with us. Now we've seen everything. Hundreds of games, thousands of tutorials, every trope, every mechanic, every plot twist before we even start. There's less mystery, less novelty, fewer moments that genuinely surprise us. A shooter is a shooter. A racing game is a racing game. What's the difference anymore? Maybe that's why old games felt better. Not because they were perfect, or because modern games are bad, but because we were different. We were hungry for discovery. And our imaginations, they filled in the gaps. Every hidden item, every Easter egg, every secret shortcut felt like magic. Maybe what we miss most isn't just the games themselves. It's the feeling. The excitement of booting up a console, not knowing what you might find, and letting yourself get completely lost in a world that felt bigger than life. That sense of wonder, discovery and excitement, the magic of turning on a game and having no idea what to expect, that's something no patch, update or DLC can ever fully replicate. And maybe that's what we lost. So why do old games feel better than new ones? It's not one thing. It's a mix of factors. The creativity and uniqueness of the games themselves, the way developers used to take risks and trust the player, the simplicity that let fun come first, and the raw sense of discovery we carried as kids. Corporate greed and monetization models have changed how modern games are made. And yes, games today are often polished, massive, and visually stunning. But sometimes that polish comes off at the cost of soul. And while indie developers like the Stanley Parable, Stardew Valley, Stray, and the Outer Wilds are proving that passion and innovation are still alive, the magic of these old games remain unmatched. Maybe it's not about nostalgia, or about claiming that old games were better. Maybe it's about remembering a time when games made us feel something new, exciting, and unpredictable. And that's why, years later, we still boot up those classics. We don't just play, we relive the wonder. Old games didn't just entertain us, they let us feel like explorers in worlds that belong to us, if only for a few hours.